Ooh, I look a hot mess. Welcome back to the Traveling Family Podcast. Glad you guys are here for episode number 8. Finally getting back on track.
Yeah, crazy that we're on episode 8 already.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Very purple. For those of you watching on YouTube.
Yeah, very purple. We should have been more patriotic, probably.
I know, because happy 4th of July.
Yes, happy 4th of July. In honor of that, we're going to continue our dive into some of our favorite destinations across the U.S.
It felt like a great time to do our 5 more destinations podcast and talk about 5 more. If you guys missed our first one, make sure you go back. I'll put it up in the card. I think it's here. Maybe it's there, but I think here. I'll put it in the card and link it so you guys can go back and watch that one too. We talked in that one about Vegas. Can't remember the other destinations, but you'll have to go back and listen. Can you remember any of them?
No, I can't.
Okay. I put you on the spot there, but that's okay. You can go back and take a listen. It's been a while. I think that was our second podcast that we recorded.
Yeah. And as we had said in other podcasts, we had some technology, well, not really technology, but
storage issues.
I
had to upgrade my equipment
issues, but Here we are. So as we jump in, we're going to go with, again, we're doing the American theme here on the 4th. So we're going to go to one of the oldest resorts in America, the Greenbrier.
Yeah.
As they call it, the Great American Resort, I believe is their tagline for it.
Yeah, that sounds right. In White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, is the Greenbrier. And even though this is out in the middle of nowhere and there's not a ton around it, there is a ton to do at this resort. So you could definitely go to this resort. We went for 3 nights. You could definitely do 2 nights. You could do a full week there. There's plenty to fill up your day. And I would say summertime, springtime, fall is going to be the most ideal time to go, because that's when a lot of the outdoor activities will be taking place.
Yeah, and even though, like, when we went for 3 nights, I don't feel like we even scratched the surface of what the Greenbrier has to offer in terms of what you're able to do. So it first opened in 1778, and as Amanda said, it's located in White Sulphur Springs, and that was the big reason for the draw. It was the actual natural springs in the area. Back in those days, everybody thought they had some healing properties and help you get a little bit healthy. So a lot of resorts popped up around springs, and the Greenbrier was one of those. It's actually hosted 27 of the 46 presidents at one time or another, which is kind of crazy. It's over 11,000 acres.
Yeah. Which is huge.
Yeah.
That's how they can fit all their activities.
Yeah. And so they have over 55 indoor and outdoor activities that you can actually do. Now, this isn't highlights from their site. This is highlights that we thought were kind of cool based on the different activities. We're not going to just go through and list out all 55. You can work with a travel planner or someone if you're looking to go down to the Greenbrier that will help you kind of figure out your trip and kind of plan it all out. But you could do falconry.
Yes. Falconry. Can you tell me more about what falconry is and why that is your highlight?
I just think it's cool. It's working with falcons. Like, you're going to have the
I thought it was like hunting. Are you not allowed to hunt falcons?
No, you're not hunting falcons.
Oh.
Oh, you're like training them. Like you put the leather guard on the arm and have them fly out and away, and you kind of teach how to work with falcons.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Glad we clarified for those listening.
No, we're not going out and shooting falcons. I do believe there's a shooting range there, but you're not. Those are mostly clay pigeons, I think, that you're firing at.
Oh gosh. Okay. The bunker tour, that I do understand, but I'll let you speak to it.
You sure you don't want to
collect it? Stop. Go.
So the bunker tour, and what you may ask is the bunker. Well, the bunker was actually a true bunker designed to take our government from Washington, D.C. during the Cold War.
It's mind-blowing.
I have not done the bunker tour.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Which I would love to do. I can't believe, well, we had a 2-year-old.
We had a young child, and I think there's an age restriction. and we were already using the babysitting service so that we could play golf. Another one of the things on our highlight list there's a couple golf courses. I'll let Keith speak a little bit more to Old White, but the bunker tour is, I think, 12 and older. So if you have a young child, you may need to either get a babysitting service or take turns going down and seeing the bunker tour. But it is incredible, the history behind it and the way that they were able to build out this bunker so that there was a safe place. And this is a secret, mind you. They built this in secret so that our government had a safe place to go during the Cold War, I believe, was the purpose of this bunker. It is no longer active. Obviously, it's public knowledge, public can tour it, but it's super interesting. And then there's also, do you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I was going to say it was completed in 1961, and the whole reason it ended up being decommissioned is a Washington Post reporter exposed it in an article in 1992. So that's why the bunker actually was decommissioned. Once it was no longer a secret, there was no reason to keep it up and use it as a government installation. So they turned the government quit leasing it in 95 and turned it over to Greenbrier.
Wow, interesting. I didn't realize that's how it got decommissioned. I just assumed since the Cold War wasn't relevant, but I guess why would you give up your hiding spot, right?
Yep.
Duh. So then there's also a casino on property,
which is Black Tie, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. And we should back up a little bit. I can set the stage for the Greenbrier. It is a very unique, bright florals, old school's very, all the people that are designers listening to this, because I know there's probably a lot, are cringing right now at my description of the Greenbrier, but you'll have to look it up. Google the Greenbrier and look up the decor at the Greenbrier. It's really neat. It's something very unique. But that being said, to Keith's point, there are some kind of fancier places on property, although there's also the pool, right? And very casual infinity pool, overlooking the trees and the golf course. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous setting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you've got an ice cream parlor on site, which was delicious.
Darling.
Yes.
Yeah, it was so cute. There's a little ice cream parlor and there's quite a few shops in the main building. There is the main building, and then there are also different condos and cottages that you can rent at the Greenbrier. So if you've got a larger party, and then up in some of those cottage areas, there was, at least when we were there, I'm hoping it's still going on, but there was the artist row where they had different cottages open up and they had local and national artists that were displaying their own creations. I mean, you had jewelry, you had bags, you had paintings, everything in between. It was really neat. I enjoyed the artist row walk.
Yeah, and something else on the shopping, they actually have a really cool little Christmas shop as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, as if you've been listening, we really like the Christmas shop in Epcot, and this was another area that we did find a really cool little Christmas shop.
Yeah, when we travel, we collect mugs and Christmas ornaments. So that's kind of our thing. So we enjoyed the Christmas shop there. And there is, as I mentioned a minute ago, golf, which we'll get into in a second, but there's the Jeep driving adventure, which is very unique, going out in a Wrangler and getting to go out on off-roading and stuff. And then, I mean, there's just so many different items. You can kind of work with them or an agent, a travel agent, and set up your day in a very curated way. Pick from the 55 items and, do what you want to do through your vacation, but definitely an awesome resort with a ton to do if you're looking for something unique. Now, I will let you tell them a little bit more about the golf course that's at the Greenbrier, and then we'll jump on to our next destination.
Yeah. So one of the golf courses, there's actually 4 golf courses that are part of the resort, and TPC Old White is the first golf course on property. It was a C.B. McDonald design, who's the father of American golf design, along with his associate Seth Rayner. And Rayner came in and redid it in the 1920s. But it's hosted a PGA Tour event from 2010 through 2019. And as you kind of hear the moniker TPC, they actually have brought in the PGA Tour just to operate that one course. And then there are 3 others. But also the Greenbrier was the home of Sam Snead for a long time as well. So you actually have a Sam Snead restaurant on property, Sam Snead being one of the most famous golfers in American history. And he would actually go out and give lessons to resort guests. There's a story that he would drive around, and if he stopped and said hi and maybe just gave you like a tip or something, you'd get back in and you'd have a lesson charged for like $150 from Sam Snead. So
smart
yeah
business.
But yeah, so that was, Sam grew up in the White Sulphur Springs area, I believe, and is from West Virginia.
And that was
originally.
a neat kind of casual restaurant right there at the golf courses. What did you think of Old White? That's one of my favorite courses. We've been very blessed and fortunate to play a number of fantastic courses across the country, but Old White was one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorites. Very unique design. It's not one that you get to see too much. There's not too many McDonald and Raynor designs out there, but very, very cool courses to play. Like just kind of brings in all types of different architecture into the holes, and golf architect people right now, I might get them upset because I'm not going into everything, and I have not dived into golf architecture.
That's a different podcast for another day. Yeah. But I think the reason I like this one so much, number one, the style fits my game. And number two, I birdied the 18th hole. So, that's right. I mean, that always helps, right? When you birdie the 18th hole at a tour course,
and it was
and
cool.
You're a 20 handicap.
Well, and it was cool because at the time they were actually building out all of the stands for the tour event.
Yeah,
when we played.
That's right.
Which was cool.
Right. Yeah. All right. So jumping into our next destination, we are going to talk about is in Michigan, in northern Michigan, on Lake Michigan. That is Traverse City. So Traverse City is a great place to go in the summertime. The temperature is not hot. It is very mild, mid 70s, maybe 80s, calm. There are beaches along Lake Michigan. There's various lighthouses that you can visit. There's a peninsula there. I think Old Mission Peninsula is the name of it, that has various wineries. So you can spend a day kind of driving and looking at the wineries and visiting the wineries. We did that one day when we were up there. Now, we were actually there in January, but it was still gorgeous. We still really enjoyed kind of discovering the various wineries. Shout out to, what was the name?
Black Star.
Black Star. Yep. We were in the Black Star Wine Club for a while, but there's all sorts of different things. And then if you're on the flip side into craft brew, there are 16, I believe.
At least that's on their tour. There may be more throughout the area, but I know that there are 16 breweries on their craft brewery tour.
Yeah.
And then there's actually 40 different wineries up there. It's interesting. So you would never think of northern Michigan as being kind of a wine hub. You know, obviously Napa Valley out in Sonoma in California, and then you've got your areas in France. But what we found out was it all goes along the 38th parallel.
Yes, that's right. I remember learning about this now.
Across the world, and along the 38th parallel, apparently that is a perfect place to grow grapes for wine.
Yep.
Which, there you go. There's a little trivia.
For you. So the area is known for the cherries. So actually right now, over the 4th of July, the Cherry Festival is going on up there, which is a huge deal. And even we were there, as I mentioned, in January, but we started there in December because we were there for New Year's Eve, and they don't have a ball drop. They have the cherry drop downtown, which we thought about going to, but it was freezing cold. I want to say it was like -14 when we were there. So we decided to just stay in and watch the ball drop in our hotel room, which we stayed when we were there at the Cherry Tree Inn. But there's also the Grand Traverse Resort. Yeah. And in the wintertime, there's skiing that you can do up there. I've mentioned a lot of the things in the summer, but you can do skiing in the winter, which we did. And that's probably the one and only time we will do skiing. As much as I love the idea of it, your coordination and my lack of actual time spent on the slopes and our age, I'm just not sure skiing is a hobby we need to get into.
No, I don't think so. Not at all.
But if you are into skiing, great place to go.
And I think there are some dunes tours and stuff up close to that area as well.
There are.
That you can go do. I know you can rent jet skis and go out on the lake, and kind of what was kind of cool was we did go see the lighthouse during our winter visit, and it was just the snow and everything else. It was beautiful. So
it was a neat destination. I would say summertime is probably best for the masses, but we were there in December, January, and it was neat to see it from a different angle. I actually had just recently gotten a new camera, And I took a picture off of our balcony every morning. Our balcony was overlooking Lake Michigan. And I took a picture every morning off of that balcony, and the lake was slowly freezing over. So every day further and further out, the lake was frozen. That was pretty cool. So that is Traverse City. Moving on to the next destination.
We're going out east to Boston, and I'm not going to try to do a Boston accent.
Good.
At all.
Good.
We've got some friends from Boston that probably would not appreciate it. So we actually visited Boston separately. Amanda visited it during a family wedding.
Yep.
Prior to me, actually, I think even
yeah, we weren't dating. I think we knew each other, but we weren't dating at that point. So
right.
I was out there for family wedding, and
I went in college as part of a group that we had to go out there. I'm blanking on what exactly we were going out. We were doing a presentation on, but very historic town, really cool ways to kind of explore the town. Now, we did not do this on our trip, but the duck boat tours.
I did. I did the duck boat tour there, and it was really something else. It was definitely a unique experience. I enjoyed. We did that after we had done the Sam Adams brewery tour, which this was the very first brewery tour I'd ever done in my life. And kind of one of the things that got me hooked on craft beer, honestly, was the Sam Adams brewery tour. And this was back in, I want to say 2010 timeframe, somewhere in that range. And it was before the craft beer scene had blown up to what it is today in 2021. So I remember being in the Sam Adams brewery tour and them sampling a pecan porter. I'll never forget this. And then I looked for years for this beer to be released, because it was something that hadn't been released yet. And they were sampling it to all their guests on their brewery tour to decide which one to release, yada, yada. So I looked for this beer for years. And then I was in Florida, in Orlando, Florida, for a work trip at Publix, of all places. And I saw a 6-pack of this pecan porter that I'd been looking for years. So of course I grabbed it on my work trip.
Absolutely. So I did not do the Sam Adams brewery tour, although I would have loved to do that. There's many Sam Adams that I like to partake in.
Maybe someday we'll have to go together to Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we did, though, go to Cheers, as the TV show was themed after a bar within Boston. The original bar that it was actually based on is called Bull and Finch. And as I was doing research for this, I just found out like the Cheers theme bar. So they actually had another bar that they'd opened up just themed after the show. It's closed.
Oh,
the pandemic got it. Apparently.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. So still, Bull and Finch is still going strong, but the Cheers bar is not.
Great. So for more riveting content on Boston, stay tuned to our next podcast. That's all we have to say on Boston.
Well, no, not really, because
that's all I have to say on Boston.
Okay. Well,
you can say as much as you want.
There are a lot of tours though that you can take.
Yes.
Around and do the Revolutionary War tour. Like, you can do so many different tours. There's actually a Holocaust memorial there too.
Yes.
That's really impactful and just it's amazing to walk through.
I shouldn't have cut you off so early, because I will say when we were there, the duck boat tour was very interesting because it takes you through Boston and talks a little bit about the history. But then we also did a neat walking tour while we were there, because we were staying right downtown. The wedding we were going to is downtown. And so we were able to do a walking tour actually the morning of the wedding. And it is definitely, if you go to Boston, because of the history there, you have to do at least one tour, if not multiple tours. And as I mentioned, one was a walking tour. So you don't it doesn't have to be this big pay for get on a bus and spend half a day thing. It could be, but you can also kind of curate it to be your own pace in what interests you or your family or your spouse or significant other.
And I believe you can actually pick up like a pamphlet of the tour and do it yourself.
Yes, that's what we did.
Without a tour guide. So I actually toured the city a different way. My friends and I would look for a cool building and we'd walk toward it. And then whatever we got to see along the way is what we got to see.
Yeah, that's really neat.
And I think we hit almost every area of the Revolutionary War tour.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. again, love history, so would love to go back to Boston and really explore
So if you
it again.
are a history buff,
yeah,
you would probably really enjoy Boston. And I am not a history buff, and I still really enjoyed Boston. So something to consider if you're looking for something different to do or a unique place to go that you haven't been yet on the East Coast.
Yeah. Now we're going to travel back a little bit closer to our area here.
Yeah, in the Midwest, we're going to highlight a couple things in Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio has a bunch of sports teams. That's probably the most popular thing that they're known for, I would say, which are the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cincinnati Reds.
And there's now also FC Cincinnati now.
I was just going to say there's also the soccer team. So Cincinnati is a neat town right along the Ohio River on the southernmost, it's like on the southwest side of Ohio. And it is right across the river from Kentucky. So we are talking the southernmost part of Ohio. Temperament is nice in the summertime. If you visit, it could be quite warm. So if you're going to visit, I would say spring and fall are some of the nicer times to visit. In the fall, there is, although I don't know if what happened with the pandemic, but there's a huge tennis tournament that is in Cincinnati, and that is right near Kings Island theme park. So that is a big draw to Cincinnati, Kings Island theme park. And right next to that is a Great Wolf Lodge that we recently spent some time at, and beautiful, clean lodge. I mean, as clean as an indoor water park can possibly be. I would say it was quite clean.
It was a good experience. Not something I had ever put on my bucket list, so to speak, but had a lot of fun. And we can do a whole pod on Great Wolf.
You and your pod.
Yeah,
we'll definitely do another separate podcast on our experience at Great Wolf Lodge, but that's another draw if you're going to be in Cincinnati. It's right next to Kings Island, so you can do both. And Kings Island also has the outdoor water park, which again, I'm not sure if that opened, but I know Kings Island is open with the pandemic. And then a couple awesome restaurants in Cincinnati area. If you're going to be in Cincinnati, you should try at least one of these, if not both. The first one is Montgomery Inn. There are multiple locations of Montgomery Inn. I tend to love the one that's right on the river, right downtown in Cincinnati, and it's called the Boathouse. And this is delicious ribs is what they're known for, and Montgomery Inn barbecue sauce. But it's just a cool restaurant. There's a lot of local sports trivia in there, and the setting is gorgeous, and it's something that I would strongly recommend. Great food, good atmosphere.
Yeah, it's
what else
just
is there to say?
Cool place to go. Food is delicious. You will get a bib. You will need the bib. So don't be afraid.
More restaurants should hand out bibs.
Yes. And then there was Terry's Turf Club, which was actually highlighted on Diners, Drive-In, and Dives, and great burgers.
Fantastic, delicious. Another very cool atmosphere, hole in the wall atmosphere. They have neon sign graveyard at Terry's Turf Club. It is just, again, something that we would strongly recommend you try to experience while you're there. And I know there are other phenomenal restaurants in Cincinnati.
You're missing the biggest phenomenon of Cincinnati food.
Oh my gosh, Skyline Chili, of course. Skyline or Gold Star?
I prefer Skyline.
Me too. So Skyline Chili, you got to get some Skyline Chili while you're in Cincinnati as well.
Yeah.
There's also some great steakhouses, but chili's what they're known for.
Yeah. The Cincinnati chili, and what we're talking about, for those of you that may not know, is the chili goes over top spaghetti, and you can put onions and cheese and all the things.
It is. Maybe that's what we should do for lunch.
Yeah, we could.
So we are fans of Skyline. And honestly, I grew up in Ohio, not near Cincinnati. And I had never heard of Skyline Chili or Cincinnati Chili or Gold Star until I moved closer to Cincinnati, Ohio. So you probably haven't heard about it if you're not a local Cincinnatian, Ohioan.
No, I think the
Midwestern.
I think the closest in the northern part of the state is Lima.
Yeah, probably true. So that's Cincinnati, Ohio. Wait, not ready to move on.
I can't. You're just trying to rip through this thing here.
Well, people don't want to listen to us ramble.
I understand that, but we have some important things to talk about.
Okay, yes.
Like beer.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I know. I feel ashamed that I totally skipped over this one, but Rheingeist Brewery. I mean, there's a million breweries in Cincinnati. Not a million, probably close to like 75 between the Cincinnati, Dayton areas. But Rheingeist is the one that I want to highlight right now because it's probably one of the most well-known nationally from a brewery standpoint in the area. And they just have delicious beer. And again, an awesome atmosphere. Old warehouse transitioned into brewery, rooftop patio. Need I say more?
Yeah, really cool experience. Although highly recommend doing the brewery tours while you're there because you can go experience quite a few of them.
Yeah.
We've done the bus tour a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a highlight that you're able to do. I've never done a pedal cart. I wouldn't mind doing that.
I did one in Nashville once, which that'll be another destination for a future episode. But I think pedal carts are a lot of work for what they are. I'd rather put me on a bus instead. So that is, can we wrap up Cincinnati now?
We can wrap it up now.
Okay, put a bow on it.
Yep.
Last and final destination that we're going to talk about on this episode of Domestic Destinations is getting on an airplane from Cincinnati and flying to the furthest possible spot that you can fly from Cincinnati and stay within the United States. Any guesses? Don't get into it as Alaska further.
I'm thinking Alaska might be further.
Okay. Well, we didn't go to Alaska.
I don't know. Actually, Hawaii is probably the furthest.
Hawaii. That's what we're going to talk about now. Hawaii has 6 major islands.
Yep.
But there are, I think, 4 major tourist islands. And then of that, we personally have been to both Maui and Oahu.
What is there to say about Hawaii, right? That you probably already don't realize or know. We actually flew out of Detroit when we went.
Okay.
And I know, but I'm just saying the connection, and then you connect out west and then you go out. It is a long trip, but it's
a very long trip.
But it is very much well worth it.
Sorry, I wasn't being literal that we personally flew out of Cincinnati. I was trying to set up the episode and moving across the country, and it's going to be a good thumbnail.
Yeah, working on your transitions here.
Oh, geez. We'll get better. This is only episode 8, guys.
Yeah. But going out to Hawaii, I mean, you can do pretty much any outdoor activity as far as that's surrounded by water or anything else. Some of our favorites golf is obviously one of those items. Biking, we did the bike.
Yeah, which I would never do again, only because I now have a child and I feel like I have a sense of responsibility to do safe things.
Yeah.
Not that that wasn't safe. But we're not bicyclists, we're not cyclists. And we got driven to the top of a mountain. We were above the clouds. We watched the sunrise, which was all incredible. And then we got onto the bikes and then we rode down the mountain. I mean, we biked down a mountain and we didn't really think about the fact that you're actually, it's not just to get on a duck boat and ride around a city. Like, you are in control of your bike on a mountain in Hawaii. I'm not as much of a risk taker anymore.
It was fun.
It was great. It was absolutely great. And I would strongly recommend, if it's your honeymoon, to consider doing it. But now I just don't know that I would do it again.
And it was, I'm going to butcher this name.
I was hoping that you would be the one to try to pronounce it.
Kala. Oh yeah, I'm not even going to try it. It's on Maui.
Is this how you spell it?
I think so. That's what I had found.
You Googled it and that's how you spell it?
Yeah. We could go get your sweatshirt.
I know. The second I hear it, it'll come right back to me.
Yeah. So if you don't, pardon us, we're sorry.
Mount
Halakali. Something like that. Yes. Anyways, moving on.
Riveting.
Yes.
Sorry.
We also did parasailing when we were there,
which I would do again,
which
is crazy because I'm afraid of heights, but again,
parasailing was fun. We also did snorkeling.
We did, and it
was okay
at one of the most famous bays in Hawaii that I see you failed to write down the name of.
Because I just remembered that we did snorkeling.
We are so prepared for this podcast. I hope you guys are learning a ton. No, in all seriousness, I hope that this does kind of inspire you to really dive deep and explore the United States and all that there is to offer
Yeah, I mean,
within our country.
There are so many areas that we haven't gone to that I would love to go to.
Yeah, on this list alone, I would like to return to Hawaii, definitely.
Oh, for sure.
For our 10-year wedding anniversary, I'd love to go back. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
But truly, there are so many areas that are. I'm gonna end up editing that out. I started to sound weird.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun. How we doing, folks?
Oh my gosh. All right. So anything else about Hawaii? Oh, the Pearl Harbor experience was incredible. Again, this goes back to the history and really appreciating the history in the various cities that we travel to. There's a theme here. It's kind of golf, beer, and history.
Which the beer was good in Hawaii.
The beer was good in Hawaii, but definitely not the highlight for me. The highlight for me were the buffets where you have rice every morning with your breakfast.
Mine was the juices.
And the juices.
If you remember back to one of our previous podcasts,
where Keith referred to himself as a juice snob.
This is why, because of Hawaii.
Yeah, the fresh, they were pretty incredible.
The fresh fruit juices there,
just the smells and the views. Actually, the next time we go to Hawaii will be at Disney's Aulani Resort.
Yeah. But we did actually get to see whales too, because we were out there in January.
Whale season.
Yeah. We got to see some humpback whales, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, we did quite a bit in Hawaii. Again, don't want to go into it all right now, but that is definitely the destination besides Disney that I feel the most confident and comfortable in sharing with people and helping people plan their vacations to. And so if that's something that you're thinking about, definitely let me know, because I can help you and tell you where we've stayed and tell you our experiences and help find the right place for your family based on what your needs are, or whether you're a couple or a family or whatever your circumstances are, because there are so many different things to explore, not only on Maui, but also Oahu. And then there's the Big Island as well. And Kauai, I know that is one of my parents' favorite islands. So at the end of the day, there's 5 more destinations to think about traveling. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast on your 4th of July. Hope you guys are having an excellent low-key family weekend. And stay tuned for our next podcast, which will be the summary of our 2021 Walt Disney World vacation. So if you're not, subscribe if you're following us on YouTube or on whatever podcast platform that you're listening on. If you would give us a like, it means the world to us. Comment, let us know your favorite cities within the United States. Where have you been, or have you been to any of these 5 that we talked about? And what did we miss in our highlights? Because there's so much more to discover than what we highlighted and touched on during this episode.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, America.